What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is up 2.98%. Market's closing in roughly 30 minutes, but 903 was the low, 989 the high. So today was quite the crazy day. So you had the market reacting to the data that came out first thing this morning. So non-farm payroll, which was a little bit better than anticipated. So 151 versus 150 the forecast, and then unemployment came in a little bit hotter, so 4.1 versus 4%. So you had this somewhat influencing the market. At the same time, you did also have Trump stating that potentially tariffs could increase as time goes by. Didn't actually state which country he meant that towards, whether it be Canada, Mexico, China, some other country. So I think that added some grayness to the broader market. But aside from that, you also did have Powell coming out, and he essentially calmed the market. He said, hey, the actual economy is fine, and because of that, we don't need to do any cuts. But at the end of the day, like, things are good. So I think that for the first time in a very long time, he actually calmed the broader markets, like just over freakiness and stuff like that. So yeah, everything seems to be going according to plan. At the same time, it just was announced roughly around 30 minutes ago that Putin is open to peace. So there might be some pretty big developments coming from that over maybe the weekend. So that would be huge for the broader market. And actually, to SoundHound, there wasn't any news. So it is just reacting to the broader market. So quite the volatile day though, but still good for those of individuals that believe in it bigger picture. So I want to go over some of the options because there was some pretty big transactions I do want to share with you. But today, no news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. Social media, last one they did bring up was this. So we're heading to the HFA show 2025 next week. So they're really stepping up their game for the number of conferences. But aside from that though, nothing really crazy. So no new information coming from these. It's just it'd be good if they actually did some interviews while there. And I know at the CES event, they were doing like videos. I'd be really positive if they continued that good momentum of actual videos while there of their booth. So yeah, because a lot of people aren't really going to go to Vegas just to kind of take a look at that. A lot of people are just investing from the sidelines and stuff like that, like myself. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on that. Shorts, of course, are increasing. I think we could have all guessed that, but 781,000 shares are being increased today. 29.24% of the free floats being shorted. Works out to be 103.2 million shares overall are being shorted. And this is what really caused that spike. So it kind of goes to show right here, they were returning 2.6 million shares at one point, and ultimately that's what caused this spike right here. Why? I think it's just because of optimism associated to the data points. People were starting to allude to rate cuts as early as April now. So not for this upcoming meeting, for the following one, but I think all in all, Powell said it very well, even though he doesn't really talk all that much. Essentially, when he does, people listen. And if he's saying that the economy is fine, then I don't think that there's any real substantial worries in the broader market, unless some other data points do come out and change that. But yeah, I think definitely today was a very interesting day. Aside from that, though, there is roughly around 100,000 shares available to be shorted. So it is getting very limited supply. So you could see some corresponding buying, as big money likes to buy stocks that are somewhat heavily shorted just to lend out shares. So you might see a nice push higher. But aside from that though, moving over to the options, this is what really drew my attention today. So 5.99 million in calls, 2.4 in puts, 63% of all the options being done today were optimistic in nature. And most of that comes from these three right here. So between 11:55 and 12:10, there was a lot of big money getting into SoundHound through options. So just between 12:05 and 12:10, there was $2 million in premiums. And if we kind of look at this, normally it's a very common practice for multi-leg transactions, bullish, bearish, so they're kind of hedging the market both ways. But This one seems to be very, very one-sided. And for the most part, if you look at the contract, the expiry date, it does show July 18th, 2025. All of these $11 calls. So $11 calls were purchased, and multiple different ones, but the largest of which was 1.33 million in premiums. So they are saying by July, it is going to be above $11. And if you kind of factor in the price that they paid, essentially it's kind of signaling that it's going to be above 13 for the most part for them to break even, right? So yeah, by July 13 plus is anticipated, so a pretty good recovery. And I think this does coincide with pretty much at the same time Powell was speaking. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be roughly around that $11 range or above. The bears are anticipating for it to be sub 750, so they're anticipating more further breakdown, and maybe some of that could be stemming from potentially the grayness associated to tariffs. So Trump seems to be coming out with something new every single day for tariffs, and the market doesn't like that. So maybe the bears are anticipating based on that. And with today being Friday, you have this right here. So you have 2,000 in open interest at that 950, 2,000 at that 9. So you won't see any kind of spikes up, no gamma squeezes, nothing along those lines. But based on this, these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So rather low today, but dark pool is very popular as per usual. So these are all the transactions occurring on that. So a couple big ones, 1.29 million, and that's pretty much it for that. So a lot of big money, like I said, getting in through options. So if you've been dabbling with options, give yourself a shout out in the comments below. But with it at $9.82, trading between this pivot and this S1. So $9.16 is going to be the strong support. And then flip side, 10.10 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So going into next week, that's going to be the next target for SoundHound to essentially hit. No new analyst ratings. So last one that did come out was very bullish, mind you, but no new ones. So last one came out 4 days ago, $26 price target, H.C. Wainwright. So yeah, hopefully more ratings do come out. It'd be really helpful if SoundHound actually did put out some more interviews, like I said. That way analysts can maybe pay attention to that, and it might draw its like broader, more target audience essentially. So aside from that though, on the actual chart itself, so right now it is below the ALMA, so that's sitting at $9.92. Ideally, hopefully it closes above that Friday in roughly 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and if so, then that'll continue and if so, then Monday it'll be able to continue that good momentum and really move it higher. Stochastic RSI, you see a nice bullish deviation, so the blue line above the orange, but it is getting somewhat overbought. So the first sign of weakness, you could see a little bit of a pullback, but the market seems to be very bipolar over the last little bit. So you're going to have 10% swings almost every single day in either direction. So just SoundHound has always been like that though. Even if we look back over here as it started to move up, market really was trying to suppress SoundHound. Shorts were doubling down. So this is why you had like 10% swings almost every single day. And it was crazy of a ride. It's kind of toned down a little bit since then, and this upcoming weekend a lot of people will be talking about obviously companies getting added and subtracted off of the S&P 500. So SoundHound, I think because of the market cap, it's not going to be considered, unfortunately. So right now the market cap is sitting at 3.76. If it was sitting back at that $20 range or even as high as 15, then yeah, it definitely could be considered, but based on everything, I don't think it's even going to be whatever. But hopefully it does build some pretty good momentum going into the next couple quarters, and then that way it'll be reconsidered, because that would add a huge amount of liquidity, bigger picture. So let me know your thoughts on all of that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.